Grambo?
Miljen Aljinovic. Say your last name.
You just said it. You actually said it.
Aljinovic. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
See,
like the American version.
I would have said it incorrectly, confidently, and then when I say it correctly, I have no confidence. So fucking, I get that with jokes, where I'll be writing, and I'll be thinking about comedy so much that suddenly it, like, loses meaning. Like, I say words, and then you laugh. What is any of this? And then I start to break down, like, quite literally, what is a joke? So I ask everyone on each phone call, like, in your philosophy, what is a joke? How do you write?
Oh, man, really? Because there's that whole technical definition of it's like a surprising twist, you know? It's like, it's verbal irony, essentially. Or is that, yeah. Which one is it? Verbal irony is sarcasm. Situational irony is when the situation doesn't go the way it did. And then what's the last one? Like dramatic irony? The one where, like, there's just sort of like an unexpected twist.
Okay.
And so, like, basically a joke is that. It's a setup and a twist. It's, I'm going to get you thinking in this lane, and I'm going to suddenly shift gears on you and put you on another lane, and you laugh as an expression of, well, it's like fear crossed with like relief that you're no longer, like, it's realizing you're in danger the second you're no longer in danger. It's, like, did you, oh god, this is gonna make a bunch of people that, I assume might listen to your stuff, Grandma, no offense to you or necessarily to them, but, you ever listen to Hannah Gadsby's last, like, the big one that everybody, like,
yeah, I did. Although I did not watch it, it was not out of any derision. I just don't. Right. I couldn't find
She explains this the whole like contempt that came up was essentially with the fact that her closer, for lack of a better word, because it's really more like the whole second half of her show, is about calling out the fact that comedy is just making you feel unsafe for a minute and then providing you with relief. And it's the entire conceit of the second half of the show is just sort of like showing that and like dissecting her own jokes as she tells them. And that part is masterful. I mean, I think the whole thing is masterful, but that part is, that's the part that blows my mind, is that people who got butthurt are so blinded by their butthurt that they can't recognize that that entire half hour is so brilliantly, like, on a writing level conceived, where she's both telling you a joke. It's like a magician telling you how he's doing the trick as he does it, and you're still amazed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Penn and Teller do that a lot. Cup and balls with clear cups.
Constructed as she's telling the joke, and then at the very end of it, the end of that whole, 30 or so minutes on, I'm just going to make you feel unsafe and then suddenly make you feel safe again. She just gets very real about her reality as a gay woman, and safety, and the idea that her job is to make people feel uncomfortable and then safe. And she ends it on, essentially, fuck you, I'm not going to feel safe. I'm not going to make you feel safe at the expense of, taking the truth that hurts out of this. Basically one of her first jokes, which was a joke that made light of a situation that was really violent and traumatic for her. And she left out the violent traumatic part and just made it a joke. And so this is her 20 years later being like, I can't just pretend like the shitty part of that story didn't exist. And this is a thing some people deal with in trying to make you laugh. How do I, that's a reality a lot of people deal with, and that I honestly deal with a fair amount as well, as someone who survived a fair amount of trauma at the hands of just sort of bullying, and not just like individual bullying, but like cultural bullying as a little kid, is how do you make people laugh when what you really want to do is punish them for the pain that was inflicted on you? How do you go out and give people something good when there's some level of you that actually just wants to make them uncomfortable and leave them feeling uncomfortable?
Well, that's fascinating. You sold it. Fucking, I will, next chance I get to actually sit down and fucking watch TV uninterrupted for a couple hours, I'll probably check that out. That seems like a fascinating, and that's an angle I've heard many people talk about in the net, but I've yet to hear that angle, so I'm fascinated. I'll check it out.
Especially the section on Picasso and whatever the other guy was, like, again, he was steeped in, you know, this guy was a rapist and a pedophile. Why do we like deify him? Not Picasso, the other guy that wasn't. Yeah, Picasso was. And then, like, why do we deify Picasso when Van Gogh is just sort of like considered this like savant and pitied, when in fact, like, you gotta watch. I'm not gonna try to dissect her bit for you, but you gotta see it. She's clearly such a gifted comic, sure, writer, yes, but like orator. You know, that stage presence thing, that element that you can't get without putting in 10,000 and 20,000, 50,000 hours. The difference between George Carlin and whoever is the biggest booking comic right now working, you know what I mean? Right. Like, that extra, you know, Breaking Bad, that last 0.3%, that's the difference between Heisenberg and every other fucking mess cook. Right.
Yeah, and just so people that may hear this, we did the math one time, and we figured out that if a comedian wanted to get to their 10,000 hours, they would have to do a 1 hour set every day of their life nonstop for 26 years.
Better get fucking cracking, bro.
Better get cracking, motherfuckers. Fuck yes, Miljen. Well, I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but I always ask the final two questions. Fucking, you know, you did touch on it earlier, social group, but what else? What's good about comedy? What's good, whether right now, like in practical, like what's going good, or philosophical? What makes you happy about it? What's good about comedy?
I mean, so I just went back to therapy. Like, I took like a break. I took a break from both comedy and life in general for like 2 or 3 weeks, like a month ago. Mm-hmm. So whatever we're all doing now with the quarantine, I did it already for 3 weeks, and I timed that quite perfectly. But that's, you know, one thing that's good about comedy is, it was one of the things that prompted me to take a break, because it can be overwhelming, but it's jokes, man. At the end of the day, like, so many of us are trying to chase something and strive for something and be something and get paid to do this and quit our day jobs. But, like, at the end of the day, like, when the world burns down, there will be 6 of us sitting around a fire, and whoever did all the open mics while there was still a society will be like, hey, you guys want to hear a joke? You know, like, that's what's good about comedy is, yeah, it's a cool thing now when it's popular, and yeah, it's a romantic job to have, like, writer or, like, Rolling Stone journalist in the 60s, like, whatever. It's all of those things. It's a great community. It's you know, it's almost bordering on family in some cases. It's a great form of expression, and it makes it, but, like, at its base, it's just humans going, hey, it's cold and we're by ourselves, but look at that. Do you see what I see? You do too, don't you? It does. That cloud does look like a penis. You know, like, you can't. It's been around as long as communication has, probably longer than words. People were farting and laughing. And yeah, man, like, it's one of those things like music that ultimately, when you strip away all the, like, business and science and, you know, technical bullshit, it's just profoundly human. And that's crazy to me.
Fuck yeah. Well, on the flip side of the coin, we always end on the negative. What sucks about comedy? Like, either right now or philosophically, what's the kick in the balls about stand-up?
You know, there's always that thing about how everyone thinks they can do it. Everyone thinks they're funny, especially people who aren't. Because that's the thing, the more, that's probably the biggest thing that sucks, is the more into it you get, the more comedy you consume, like, inevitably your taste gets pickier and pickier and pickier. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, you're not listening and you're not getting better. And like, I miss laughing at hacky, stupid bullshit that my civilian friends think is hilarious. Like, I'm a little bit bummed out when, like, my boss is cracking up showing me, like, a YouTube video of a guy getting hit in the balls that, like, it's only like 10% funny to me, because it's like, yeah, that didn't take any effort. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks to get jaded.
I often sit and I watch things. I just watched a special the other night where I clicked on it and I just got angry. It's like, how did this happen? How do you get away with such, like, even here in Denver, like, we talk to each other a little bit, and you'll figure out what a hack premise is pretty quickly. And you see people, it's like, these are paid headlining professionals that really...
But here's the thing, man. The reason they're paid headlining professionals is because they know exactly what ratio of hack to real to present and how to present it.
Right.
And
my buddy...
If you want to do this for a living, that is the gig, is how much do I have to slice what I want to say with consumable bullshit that will make you buy my shit.
Right. It's also, I explained to my buddy, he's a big comedy fan back home, and he'll see my Comedy Works things, and he'll message me, dude, that was so fucking good. I can't believe how good you are. And I tell him, I was like, dude, you're getting confused. Like, there's two major branches in stand-up comedy. There's what you're saying and how you're saying it. You're getting obsessed with what I'm saying. You like what I'm saying because we have a similar sense of humor. You like I'm trashing society. You like I'm trashing the baby, marriage, video games. Like, I'm trashing all the... But how I'm saying it, those hack comedians you hate, they're better than me. Even though you can't see it, how they're saying, the way they're structuring these hack ideas are still brilliant. They're bad writers. They're brilliant comedians.
Well, that and they know there's a certain amount of hack material you have to do to get, like, the audience isn't just a bunch of comics, man. We get jaded. We think everyone needs this highbrow shit.
Right.
It's every once in a while you just need something that's going to make an 8-year-old go, oh.
Exactly. Yep, we live in a miraculous time of the internet where even the smallest niche has a huge market. So keep making content and find those people.
I mean, that's kind of what it is we're trying to figure out on how thin of a sliver of the buying consumer market can a human being survive. And dude, there's people out there who make a comfortable, like, $50,000 and not a penny more, just like with their little group of people that buy their shit. You know, dildo makers, artists, which one in the same, really?
I was going to say, dildo makers are fucking a fine artist, man. That's craftsmanship.
Yeah, that's true. They're craftsmen.
Bro, you see the way they put the veins in that thing? Forget about it. Well, we did it. Miljen, you are my fucking fifth guest on Comics with Grambo, and you were very insightful. I didn't expect to get an education on the net, but I am now one of the converted. I will I'm going to go check that out and study it with a non-judgmental eye.
I mean, it's where, even if she doesn't speak to you, she speaks clearly and succinctly, and if you can just sort of, like, listen to it, I don't think there's anyone that couldn't get something out of it if they tried. Obviously, maybe that's not true. Some people are assholes, right?
Of course. We know them personally.
We sure do.
Fuck yes. Well, thank you, my friend. This was great, and I'll hit you up again someday, because we're all going to be quarantined through the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, you should download Counter-Strike. Apparently it runs on pretty simple systems, and a bunch of us are going to be playing it soon.
Fuck yeah. Well, Miljen, Aljinovic.
Yeah, nailed it.
I will see you on the flip side, my brother.
All the love, Grambo. Goodbye.
All right, love you, brother. Later.
Hi guys, it's Josh Grambo. Holy shit, I did not see that coming. Miljen Aljinovic fucking kills it. I didn't see the Nanette thing coming. I knew he was a bleeding heart liberal, but goddamn, that bleeding heart is in the right place. I will be checking out Nanette Hannah Gatsby, everybody. Check it out. Because that was an interesting philosophy. Fear. I take you down a fearful spot and then I twist you to make you feel better. I haven't seen the special yet, so I won't contradict it till I see it. I do disagree with the theory that that's how you have to do comedy. I don't have the same view on it. I don't believe that you have to take them down a road and then twist it. In fact, I personally feel like that's kind of hack. I don't think that you should rely on these joke-telling algorithms of I'm going to say A, B, and you think I'm going to say C, I'm going to say D. Ha ha ha. I don't buy that, but I'm also not going to be judgmental. I will sit down and watch Hannah Gatsby's special and get back to you guys. It was a goddamn good take. Miljen, what a fucking good dude. Check him out on social media. He's got a weird name, but you can find him. Miljen Aljinovic. Miljen. Miljen. Aljinovic. Aljinovic. He's good. Thank you, Miljen. You're the man. I'll see you guys out on the comedy battlegrounds. Don't catch Corona. This show's called Comics with GRAMBO. And I'm out.